In 1934, the Armenian community of North Philadelphia embarked on the ambitious project of establishing a new house of worship, a project that would take nearly a decade to realize, but one that, its founders hoped, would sustain future generations of Armenian faithful. It was a dark time to take up a task of this magnitude. The upheaval of the Great Depression was felt everywhere in America. In the Old World, Europe was inching toward another war, and the Armenian homeland was in the steely grip of the Soviet regime. But the parish leaders in Philadelphia were undeterred by these factors. They had seen their people emerge from one of the darkest episodes of Armenia's history, and now they felt it was their time to chart a new course for the Armenians who had found a home in the city of brotherly love. Under the leadership of their pastor, the Reverend Father Arsen Torosyan, parishioners attended services at local churches while making plans to erect their own sanctuary. In 1940, the community welcomed the Reverend Father Hovhannes Kavukjan and soon purchased a church located at the corner of Susquehanna and Marshall Streets in North Philadelphia.
It was quite large. It was like a theater. It was an old Baptist church that we converted by putting the altar where the organ was, and the pews were in an arch form, and it was tapered down like a theater. So it was a beautiful church, and everybody lived nearby.
Over the weekend of December 26th and 27th in 1942, the new place of worship was consecrated as Holy Trinity Church by the diocesan primate Archbishop Karakin Hovsepian. In 1946, a young and energetic pastor arrived at Holy Trinity Church. The very Reverend Father Torka Manugyan, who would go on to lead the Eastern Diocese as its primate, injected the parish with a new optimism in the years following World War II.
Turkum Vartabed, when he first arrived here, I became very friendly with him. He was very instrumental in me joining the choir and learning how to be a sargavak, and also going to Armenian school. I've been in the choir for a very, very long time. Bergerechan was director of the choir with me. I remember Berger and I would have the choir rehearsals at various people's homes, and then for entertainment after the choir rehearsal, we would have soda and donuts, because it was a donut shop right around the corner from Susquehanna and Marshall.
One day coming home from work, I opened the door, and there sitting there were two gentlemen, and of course I knew Torkum Vartabed at that time. I'd been to church a couple times, but the other gentleman, he was a part of the hookup arts. I just walked in, gave my greetings, and Haisuk didn't even get up. He just said, "I want you to join the choir." I said, "Wait a minute, Haisuk, I can't sing." He said, "Don't worry, I will teach you how." So you see, you don't say no to Haisuk. When he has his mind set up, you join the choir, which I did.
Young people, especially young men returning from the war, flocked to the church to join the choir and the newly organized Armenian Church Youth Organization of America. Younger students benefited from the strengthened programs of the Sunday and Armenian schools, where they learned about their faith and culture. Also popular was the Turkmenians choral group, which performed at many church functions and gained widespread recognition in the community.
Even though we had to take public transportation to get from our homes to the church, we still had a very good congregation. Christmas, Easter, that church was just packed. And I used to put chairs in the aisles so that people could sit. And a lot of times people had to stand in the back.
I'm one of 6 children, 5 girls, 1 boy. We came to church every Sunday. We loved coming to church. We made so many friends. We still know them today. It's my church home. That's what it is. It's my church.
It was my whole life. All through my growing up years, I really had no social life outside of church. That's all we knew, church and work.
These years of growth culminated in 1960 when Holy Trinity Church had the rare opportunity to witness an historic national moment. In June of that year, the community joyously welcomed His Holiness Vasken, who became the first Armenian Catholicos to visit the United States from the Mother See of Holy Echmiadzin. Holy Trinity would be privileged to host Catholicos Vasken once more in 1968. On the morning of December 1st, 1964, parishioners woke to the news that an arsonist had burned their church to the ground.
It was a very traumatic time for this parish. Several Sundays we had services at a school, and then we were relocated to an orphanage where we continued to have services regularly. We had weddings there, we had baptisms.
All I remember is that Albert called me at some ungodly hour in the morning, and we rushed down to Susquehanna and Marshall and watched the blaze. I never saw anything like that. You see a whole church burning. But it was a blessing in disguise because that made things move along for the new church.
In the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, the parishioners of Holy Trinity Church, guided by their Christian faith and grounded in the richness of their heritage, persevered once more to build an Armenian sanctuary in Philadelphia. In 1965, the community gathered for the groundbreaking ceremony, and in the fall of that year, Diocesan Primate Archbishop Sion Manugyan blessed the cornerstones of the new church. By the following year, the new home of Holy Trinity Church stood complete. On September 18, 1966, the parish's former pastor, now Bishop Torka Manugyan, the newly elected primate of the Eastern Diocese, returned to Philadelphia to consecrate Holy Trinity Church. The founders of Holy Trinity Church could not have hoped for a more productive future. In the span of 8 decades, generations of parishioners have reaped the fruits of their labor. And today, generations more stand to inherit the legacy and responsibility they set in motion 80 years ago.
It's very, very important, I think, to be a member of a community, our community being this church. Many years I was a Sunday school teacher and superintendent. My wife was a teacher. She was also in the choir. We are like a family. And after all these years, I know many of the people by name, by background, who they are. So this is my church community. This is how I'm attached. My mother went through the massacres. She lost a brother, a husband, and a young daughter. And in a sense, by me being here, I am remembering and paying homage to those who were sacrificed during the genocide.
I was raised that you go to church on Sunday. It's my link to my folks. There's 2 angels up here over the altar. When my father passed away, I made him the one on the right. My mother passed away. She became the one on the left. When I come here, I'm with them.
We are the church. The lay people are the church. We have a wonderful group of people here who are really, really dedicated.
I enjoy serving on the altar, taking part in Baradak. It's very humbling. I'm very thankful that my parents and my family members have pushed me to stay on the altar, to come to church. The church here is my home away from home, and I feel as though I will always be here. This is where I belong.
My wife, boys, and I have been embraced by our church family from the first day of our arrival. It's been a great journey. I have enjoyed getting to know many of our parishioners personally and hearing family stories. Every day I learn something from our parishioners.
What do I see in the future? I think it'll continue. From what I can see, the children grow up, marry, have children, they bring their children back again.
The church and the ACYOA is an extension of our family. I have one brother, but we don't have any first cousins. And all of the children that I grew up with in Sunday school and ACYOA, I call my cousins, and their parents are my aunts and uncles. And as we grow up and have children, it's important that we bring them back to the church so that we can sustain it and they can grow up and have the experiences that we've had.
It's nice to be part of something, and you want to make sure this place exists, whether it's this building or another building, for future generations.
Before I started going to church school, I thought family was just the people I live with. Now I know that I have another family, my Holy Trinity family.
Love is here. All you have to do is come and open your heart, and the love is here.